David's on the line. David, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Aaron. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm not sure where you want to start, but I've been talking about Donald Trump all afternoon, which I don't like doing. But can I just get your quick take, by the way, on what you think of that Doug Ford ad? Was it the right thing or wrong thing to do? What do you take? What do you make?
I think Doug Ford is he's very popular in Ontario. Was reelected with a huge majority. Is at 50% approvals in his province. He has he's the first, with the label Captain Canada since this whole Trump tariff war began. He's doing what he can to save basically his auto industry, mainly, of course, other sectors as well. Trump is kind of like, remember back in the day, the North Korean dictators would freak out and call off nuclear peace talks because of the size of the flag in the room and stuff like that. I mean, how are you going to know? My take on this is that I think Doug Ford is doing what he can, and TV ad campaigns to influence border states and try to get people to, because a lot of states are hurting because of this tariff war. This is not just hurting Canada. Donald Trump had to announce a $10 billion aid package for farmers in his own country because of the tariffs. So this, and there are other measures. So this is not, inflation is up in the U.S. and part of that is because of the tariffs. So I wouldn't throw a rock at Doug Ford here. And on top of that, I really think, and this is my take and my take only, but Aaron, right now Donald Trump is in Asia. He's going to meet with Xi Jinping. Yesterday on NBC, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, there's a framework for a deal. I mean, going after Canada the way he did, and basically, let's remember, to this day, Trump did this over the weekend. We still don't know what it really applies to. We just heard 10% on Canadian products, and nobody can tell us what this is going to apply to, and there's nothing on the regulatory framework that has been made public by the U.S. government at all since then. So we don't even know when this is going to come into effect. But I wonder if this is, yes, okay, he saw the ad, Ronald Reagan, blah, 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 but also if he's not sending also one of many signals to China saying, we may be close to a deal, but I can walk away anytime, and if you guys do something that I don't like, I'm going to walk away. So I think it's just Trump being Trump. And ultimately, the biggest thing of this week, the biggest story of this week in terms of trade and tariffs, is the China meeting with the U.S. After that, depending on how that goes, then Mark Carney meets Xi Jinping. But also, this could also set the stage for maybe finally a deal between the U.S. and Canada on tariffs.
But I want you to hear this clip. So this is interesting. We had someone earlier in the show suggest, take this with a very, very large grain of salt. So this is Pete Hoekstra, who is the Canadian ambassador, who hasn't necessarily endeared himself, David, to Canadians so far. I've seen him at a couple of business conferences. He seems very combative. This is what he said, if you're going to believe this, about trade negotiations between the two countries.
We have stopped negotiations with Canada. I don't say any way that there will be an agreement before Thanksgiving. I'm not sure what it's going to take to get people back to the table in a constructive and positive mood.
Okay. Again, I'm not so sure he's very much on the inside. What do you make of that?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the line that was given, and that's today's line. Yeah. Remember, a week ago, or was it, 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump was saying that Mark Carney was a great guy. So that's today's take. And, again, with all due respect, the U.S.'s ambassador to Canada is not on the inside. He's not in Asia. He's not in the inner circle. So let's play it day by day. Today, we're on the outs, but things can change very quickly, as we all know.
So the other story I want to talk about, what is it, 3:30 in the morning, where they finally passed Bill 2, this Bill 106 originally draft of the new health care bill. Look, all I hear is from doctors, from medical specialists about how, first of all, how crazy this is, even if you choose as a doctor to go ahead and, sort of come out publicly and point this out. There's something in this bill that suggests that's illegal?
Yes.
That's crazy.
No, but Aaron, this is This is not just adopting Bill 106. There's over 100 pages and to this bill, and it's 106, and there are other articles that do exactly that. So, and there's actually, and the question was asked during the expedited process during, the night from Friday to Saturday, where a Quebec Solidaire member asked Christian Dubé, well, could that mean that even journalists who criticize the bill, the media, could technically be going against the law? And to produce, any legal opinions on this. First of all, no legal opinions, and two, he could not deny it. Anybody the way it's so broadly written. Now, I've just, read, certain sections. I didn't read in detail, but the thing is that right now you have a law that says if you criticize it, you could be sued by the government. Two, also, there's the whole disposition where you have a system now in place to rat on your colleagues who don't work enough.
Yeah.
So you have freedom of expression that's being attacked. You have a system of having, tattletales and people telling on other people. So instituting in this law this type of behavior. Also, freedom of mobility that is being attacked. And also this idea, think about this, how absurd this is. The 15% productivity quota?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that it's for a region. It's for a sector. So if you work, like crazy and you're hyper-performing, but your group as a whole, your region as a whole is not performing well, you're going to suffer anyway. So these are some of the highlights so far. Now, this is going to go before the courts, but the other take I have on this, Aaron, is that, we're just, a couple of weeks after this government has said that it has introduced a constitution for Quebec. Wow, way to go. That's your first bill. Your second bill out of the gate is basically trouncing basic fundamental rights and freedoms with regards to freedom of expression, freedom to work where you want, mobility, and this is very serious. So this is going to go before the courts. Doctors are going to leave, and this especially, and this is a growing story. I've read on it already over the weekend. This is also hurting mainly women doctors, female doctors, because you have these stories coming out. If you're a woman doctor, you have two kids, you're a single mom, these performance targets, if you're already working to the hilt, and for example, you want to have kids or you have kids, this is another hit on being a woman in our society. So this is raising a ton of negative questions. Christian Dubé last night on Tout le monde en parle saying, now I'm going to take time to explain to Quebecers what this is all about and how good this is. He's been doing it for 3 years now, Aaron.
Yeah.
3 years, Aaron, that he's refounding. He hasn't explained a thing. Nothing that he's done has yielded any results. And even with this bill, nobody can tell me, or anybody for that matter, how this today gets any Quebecer closer to healthcare.
David, I think I said this on Friday when details of this started coming out. I used to think that no one could ever say there was a worse health minister in this province than Gaëtan Barrette, but I think Christian Dubé has surpassed him. So,
wow, Gaëtan's going to be happy to hear that.
I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying, Christian Dubé has, and he had the gall to say last night, I know you saw that too, he said, I'm going to start explaining to Quebecers, way to go, after the horses have left the barn.
Yeah.
But also, here he goes saying, I think now we can sit down with the doctors and really negotiate. Really?
After the fact.
Yeah, after all of this, after calling them lazy, after basically dropping the nuclear bomb like this, this is just a horrible, horrible situation. From a government that is, there's nothing there that's going to help its popularity. So no, this is a horrible situation because, again, at the end of the day, Quebecers aren't getting better health care out of this.
By the way, I got to go, David. Is there something in here that if they collude somehow, like if two doctors talk to each other about this, they could get fined?
If it's the articles, I mean, if we had a lot of time, but if the article is so broadly written that any type of conversations, actions that could be interpreted as a collective action to leave the system or not being productive is an infraction to the law.
Unbelievable. All right. We'll talk more about this, I'm sure. David, thanks so much.
Introducing Bryan Adams Radio on iHeartRadio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
Join me for an insider look on a wild ride through 40 years of global rock and roll.
Bryan Adams Radio. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app. Or ask your smart speaker to play Bryan Adams Radio on iHeartRadio.
Who's ready to rock?
Kids wanna rock.